This week on Not Sauce for Work, my co-host Terry Tam and I discuss how we don't know anything about the NFL, how LeBron's fistfights relates to freedom and China, whose job it is to clean and vomit, and we'll get into many more topics on this episode of Not Sauce for Work on the Hot Sauce Sports Podcast Network. Welcome, everyone. You were listening to, perhaps watching, Not Sauce for Work. Terry Tam returns from the Mecca, from Madison Square Garden and New York City. I led, of course, with the more important part of the Mecca. How was your first experience at MSG?
Second experience.
Oh, second. Awesome.
Yeah, I went to go see a Knicks game. I think it was against the Raptors, actually, a few years ago. And then as we were booking for New York, I saw that the Pacers were playing, and I'm like, this is perfect. Yeah, so, and then coincidentally, the night after, the Habs were playing, and I had no idea.
Yeah, Alex, the intern, posted that, but it's okay. The Habs are not an NHL team at the moment, so it's fine. It's fine to have missed it. Eagle, how are you? And what is it that you're eating? Don't promote the place because they don't give us money.
No. I guess you could call it a Greek poutine. So it's the long cut fries that have been deep fried, covered with feta cheese. Then there is, I guess, a Tito that's been shaved off, like basically pork souvlaki. I could have got chicken, but I like the pork better. Mm-hmm. And all that is then glazed with tzatziki.
You're going to die soon.
That's fine.
Okay. I want to be clear about it. You're going to die soon. I actually had an interesting situation happen to me last week. It was on Thursday. I was taking the bus. You guys know me. I'm a combination of like the environment, take the bus / too cheap to pay for a car. So taking a bus on my way to work, and while I'm sitting there, a dude gets on. He's got a cane, and he brings in a 12-pack of Corona. I'm like, okay, it's in the morning, but I was like, whatever. He's probably going to some place. He's going to chill for the day, maybe play some Mario Party, slam some beers. Like, day off, right? Like, whatever. It seems like a thing that might happen. So I have my AirPods in, and I'm scrolling through Twitter and collecting stories for what would be this week's show, and the normal things I do on the bus. At first, I have noise cancellation on, so I can't hear anything. But at one point, so let's call that guy Beer Guy. At one point, another guy gets in. Let's call him Douchebag Vigilante. So Douchebag Vigilante sits down in front of me, and I see him keep looking behind me. So I quickly reach over and click and turn on the transparency so I can sort of get an idea of what's going on around me. And I hear like bottles clanking together, and I look behind me, and Beer Guy is about 6 or 7 beers in. And this is in about 10 minutes that we've been on the bus together. Like my bus time commute is not very long to work. So this is about 10 minutes together.
I'm going to ask you a question here. Quick question. Was the beer case open
when he first got on?
When he first got on the bus?
No, it was closed. It was sealed.
So he drank 6 bottles.
Yeah, it never appeared to me that he was drinking when he first got on the bus, right? I assumed he was going to some place. Like he's going to his buddy's house or whatever. A little bit older than me, let's say. So maybe it's a day off, whatever the case is. Maybe he's going to a party later that day.
Maybe he had drank like 4 or 5 of them or something.
Yeah, maybe it's he's showing up early to help prepare for lunch, like whatever it is, But no, he's slamming, and like at this point he's downing a beer every 2 minutes, a Corona every 2 minutes. And so like Douchebag Vigilante gets up and starts confronting him. And the guy is like at this point pretty drunk and telling him to screw off. And like, I get it. He's not supposed to be drinking on the bus, but also like, who cares?
Who's he hurting?
Right? So he goes to the bus driver. Now my AirPods are completely off because I'm like, this is getting out of hand. I got
very interested.
World star.
Yeah.
World star. World star.
Very world star. And he tells the bus driver, you need to stop immediately because there's a guy drinking on the bus. And the bus driver says, I noticed him. I've called the police. I put on the alert on the bus. They're going to stop en route, but like I'm not stopping the bus because nobody's in danger People have to get to work. People have to get to school, so on and so forth. So the guy gets angry, sits down, and starts glaring back at beer guy. Right? So
This guy needs to have sex like today.
yeah, clearly.
So
Although
constipated.
maybe with the second part of the story, you'll see how he doesn't deserve it. So,
This guy is the reason why things escalate.
oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have no idea, my friend. So, these two, we get to a stop where there's typically a lot of police officers. There's a bridge coming into Laval. So the cops get on, two like just young jacked cops, like guys who are working that shift, who are still fit, still young, still at the prime of their careers, kind of thing, And they go over and they gather pretty early on, like this guy's either got something wrong or maybe he's an alcoholic, right? And so they start talking to him very gently, like, "Sir, you need to come with us." And he's like, "I'm not bothering anyone." Like, "Well, you are bothering some people. So either way, you got to come off the bus with us. We're gonna confiscate your beers, but we're not gonna give you a ticket. We're gonna wait with you a little bit, and when you're okay to get on the next bus, you're gonna get on the next bus." Like as gently as they possibly could, right? So eventually, after about half an hour of arguing and them just staying super calm, super patient, on top of this, we're also always on high alert when it comes to police and dealing with minorities. It was a black dude. It was cool to see one of these transactions go really, really smoothly, and it felt safe and the guy felt cared for.
But
So they're leading him off the bus, and as he's leading him off the bus, he notices the douchebag vigilante glaring at him, right? And so he starts telling him, "Well, why don't you come outside, and we'll talk about these beers outside, so on and so forth." And the guy gets up, and out of his pocket, I see him pull out a telescopic club. Right? He's about to bull rush the drunk guy and two jacked, like 450 pounds of law enforcement with a bat. So before I know it, this is incredibly dumb of me. I'm unlike you, Terry. I have no training in martial arts. Without even realizing it, I'm now face to face with the guy, like inches away, telling him, "Yo, bro, chill, sit down. You're gonna die right now if you don't sit down."
Oh, you got involved.
Yeah. I told him to sit down. Eventually, he chilled. Like, for all I know, I may have seen this guy's life because he was about to go charge at police officers with a weapon. And those two cops, as gentle as they're being with that guy, they looked like they can break somebody into pieces. And anyway, the guy was really irritated with me. Beers guy, hopefully he had, went out, bought another 12-pack, got wasted somewhere else. But really, really strange ride on the way to work. It took me an hour and a half for a 37-minute bus ride.
I respect people that can just crack open a beer in public because when I was in New York, I couldn't find a bathroom. We went to Target and I ran to the bathroom in Target. I get in there, I had to take a shit. It wasn't just a piss. Like a piss, I would have peed anywhere, right? It's New York. The city's a bathroom, literally. Yeah. And so I go and I have to take a shit. So I go in there and there's only one stall and one urinal. So I see a guy waiting for the stall, this older guy. And there was a guy in there that was handicapped. There was the handicapped stall as well. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be forever. So the guy that's in there with me, he kind of looks at the stall, looks at me. He's like, "Well, I guess we're going to be here for a while." And he cracks open a tall Coors Light. And I was wearing my Mets hat, and he starts talking to me about the Mets and how he used to play with this guy. I forgot the guy's name.
Bobby Winnie.
Rick Cerrone or something. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, cool." He's like, "Yeah, I played with him at Seton Hall." He's telling me his whole high school baseball career, how he was a catcher and all. He could have made it, but he didn't. I'm like, well.
Meanwhile, you're pinching a nugget.
Yeah, exactly. So then I was like, all right, man, have a good one. So I left without taking a shit.
This was perhaps the greatest moment of me recognizing my white privilege because I used to drink on the bus all the time. Never a 12-pack, but a single beer. Also never at 9:30 in the morning, but still.
Also, it was never a problem.
It's never. No one's ever complained about me drinking a beer on the bus. So yeah, interesting stories all around. But we have a ton of news to get to, so let's get to it.
Okay. Not even the weekly news.
Yeah. Terry, it's the news. I've been disappointed by the last couple of weeks of Red Zone. The evening games have actually been quite good, but the Red Zone past couple of weeks, I just feel like I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. I can't tell you who's good in the NFL. And I thought I would like that. It turns out I like excellence. I like when things are very good and things are very bad. I want to see the difference between what sucks and what's great.
Well, I mean, I don't watch that much of Red Zone. Like I'll tune in once in a while, but I'll just stick to a game. I'll pick a game and I'll watch it. That's it.
Well, I have usually a game. So I had the Dolphins game on with no volume and I had Red Zone on with volume, so that I can follow along what's happening during the day, but also primarily watch my game.
It also depends on which games are on, because some days watching Red Zone for the games isn't worth it.
This was
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Sunday. And then at one point, Scott Hansen informed me that there were 27 missed kicks. And I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? There's 27 missed kicks in the
That's
NFL on
crazy.
Sunday. And one of the things I was thinking about, Terry, was they moved the extra point line back, right? But like when a team kicks a field goal from there, that's a chip shot. Why can't they make the extra point? I don't understand.
That makes no sense. It's like I think it has to be mental, because if you can make the kick once, then your muscle memory is allowing you to make it. We'll make sure you'll make it every single time. The only thing that can get in the way of that is in your brain. That's why, like, there's this whole thing Ryan Clark went on. He said kickers aren't football players, and Pat McAfee took offense to it. Like, kickers, it's not that they're not football players, it's that you don't really need them except for this one tiny moment where it's one tiny big moment. And when they miss, it's like you hate them, but when they get it, they're part of the boys, you know? So it's like, it's a thankless job. It's a thankless
It
job.
absolutely is. It absolutely is.
tough.
You're also sitting on the bench cold for like 80 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of these kickers are like with no long sleeves and shit. Like Harrison Butker the other day for the Chiefs. I'm like, this it's cold out, and this guy's he's got nothing under his stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Stop being tough. You're a kicker. Like, if I'm a kicker, I'm wearing a Canada Goose
Yeah.
jacket. I'm wearing snow pants. Like, I'm being all bundled till like you need to get on the field. You know.
Yeah.
You know when they start warming up on the sideline, that's when you take off your coat. That's when you take off your
Yeah.
snow pants.
You can have the little buttons on the side that like pop when you pull them off, right?
Oh, like the '90s basketball
Yes,
pants.
exactly.
Genius.
No, so football bench jackets are like made so they button down in front of you, but they cover your shoulder pads, so you're covered completely.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable, those jackets. Like, they're so warm. So you just rip out of them like Superman.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
You should
That is
do-
pretty awesome.
They should do that. Kickers should do that, and like they have to run to like the midfield with that jacket on and just like rip it off for the game-winning field goal.
That's what we need, a kicker with swag. We need like the Cam Newton of kickers to, like, you know, come out of the cloud of dust, tear off the jacket, spend 20 minutes like celebrating before he gets the kick.
Which kickers have been like polarizing? Like, there's Martin Gramatica used to celebrate all the time. There's
Marquette King, the punter from the Raiders.
Marquette King. Doesn't Pittsburgh have a guy now who's like he's like a
Chris
nutcase?
Boswell. Chris Boswell is like the most like blue collar kicker in the world.
No, the punter.
The punter. Oh yeah, the Jack dude. Well, not he's pudgy jacked.
Yeah, he's like pudgy, but he's
Yeah.
like tough. He'll go downfield. He'll smack people. Like, we need more people like that. Pat McAfee style.
There was a kicker in the '90s for the Bucks. who was-
Presley Harvin III.
That's the one, yeah. Presley Harvin. There was a kicker for the Bucks in the '90s. I had his football card. I don't remember his name. He was an African last name, if I'm not mistaken. He was indicted on fraud like 2 years after retiring from the NFL. Sadly, it's become more and more common, it seems, that this happens. But yeah, he was indicted on health insurance fraud after his NFL career. So like, I guess there's that kind of a polarizing kicker as well.
Yeah.
Adam Vinatieri going at Peyton Manning.
Oh yeah, sure. That's a good one.
And
I
Peyton
mean,
Manning told him to shut up because he was a kicker. You know,
which is the
Like a-
only response necessary.
Olondo Mare of the Dolphins, Huizinga once said the reason the Dolphins didn't make the playoffs was because of Olondo Mare. He put it solely on the shoulders of his soccer player / place kicker.
Who did that? Bill Parcells?
No, it was I just said it. The guy who's still in Blockbuster.
Huizinga.
Huizinga, that's Wayne Huizinga.
He's also was part of like the whole thing with the Expos, no?
Oh, well, yeah, indirectly, yeah, because of
Indirectly,
the
yeah.
sale to the Marlins and all that stuff.
Um,
He knew how to sell stuff before it went bad, right? The Marlins, Blockbuster,
yeah, it's true.
the Dolphins.
He's a great salesman. We should get him on board for Hot Sauce Sports right before
Seriously.
we go bad. Like, you just sell the show.
Yeah, and then
Contact
like
him.
you have a game like
Sell
Ter-
this.
Terry, like we have a game like, I'm gearing up for Mahomes versus Dak, right? I think it's gonna be fireworks, and they combine for 0 passing touchdowns in probably a much more plodding game than we thought it would be.
It was the game I was waiting for it. I'm like, this is gonna be. I didn't expect it to be like a lot of people expected like a barn burner. I didn't expect it to be like 45-41 or anything, but I expected like a 31-27, something like
You
that.
expected something to happen.
I expected the
Nothing.
Cowboys to score 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Was that hard?
Well, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like apparently, and later on, Mike Vrabel says in a press conference how he doesn't want to make excuses because of injuries. Yeah, you lost Derrick Henry. That's not an excuse. That's a reason your team sucks.
The
now.
reason, yeah, exactly.
Like apparently, the reason that the Chiefs had such a bad defense was Chris Jones had to play outside instead of inside, and apparently this transforms their defense completely because it's not even that Dak was bad. Nothing was open, and there was pressure constantly, and we're not used to seeing that.
No, I don't think
against the
Dak
Dallas
played well
Cowboys.
at all.
Oh, I don't think he did great, but like, I mean, it's not like they were showing clips of open wide receivers or he had all day to throw. Like, it just seemed like there was nothing available the entire game.
It's not that there was nothing available, it's that he was underthrowing guys he should be overthrowing. Like, how many times did he, like, there was that one play to Cedric Wilson, there was that another one to CeeDee Lamb. If he overthrows them, they're touchdowns because those guys were burning the DBs. When he's underthrowing them.
He also hit Cedric Wilson in the chest at one point and it was dropped.
Cedric Wilson had a couple drops. Cedric Wilson played like shit too. Like the offense didn't play great at all. Like Zeke was the only part of that offense that was rolling, and Tony, but they didn't do anything else. Like Dak did not have a good game at all. I thought that after the game against Carolina, he bounced back against the Falcons, and I was like, okay, that was his one game this year. He's gonna play shit, and now let's back into it. But then we have the Chiefs, and the Chiefs, you know what? They're good. They're
a good team.
Even though they had like a rough start to the year. They're first place. They're a good fucking team again. Mahomes isn't what he was before, but like we can't take him lightly.
So actually, I had this conversation with
I just
Duke.
think that Dak could have played much better.
I had this conversation with Duke. I'm not sure if it was last week or off air, but I had a conversation with him about how essentially there's a bunch of analytics that say Mahomes is actually the exact same quarterback. The results are just different. So he was unnaturally lucky the first couple of years based on his interceptable passes, like balls that should have been intercepted that weren't. Whereas this year he's exceedingly unlucky. Yeah. Whereas like he's actually throwing less interceptable passes, like slightly less, but more of them are being intercepted. But he's a guy who takes chances. He's always been a guy who takes chances. That's also the thing that makes him special too, right? So I mean, it's a give and take. But yeah, so like the thing is, Terry, like to go back on what Vrabel said about not making excuses. Like the thing is, Amari Cooper to Cedric Wilson is a downgrade by any stretch of the imagination. And the reason why Cedric Wilson is making all of those, he's playing on that many plays in the game is they don't have Amari Cooper that day. You know what I mean?
And CeeDee Lamb went down at half.
That's true. He had a concussion as well. So like,
it's
CeeDee
not
Lamb
the
didn't
same come back in the second half. No, you're working with Gallup, you're working with Wilson, and you're working with a couple other guys. But like, yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't the same team. I agree, but it was also a game that they could have won about 4 times, and they just couldn't punch it in. How many times did they have the ball and they had to go for a field goal? You know what I mean? Like they had first and goal and they went for a field goal. So there's that. It's like I think it was bad play calling overall, and Dak just underthrowing a lot of players.
At least they didn't have a 13-minute drive that ended in a field goal from the one, like the Niners in the at their first drive of the day. I was depressed. That's what started my Football Friday, and I was like, this can't be the whole day. I can't keep watching
13 minutes for a field goal, 99, whatever how many yards it was for a field goal.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
That's crazy talk.
Meanwhile, though, Lamar Jackson, who keeps missing games for illness, I can't remember a time where quarterbacks missed multiple games because he's been sick. But I mean, I believe him. Obviously, football's a tough game. Guys don't miss games for no reason. At the same time, Tyler Huntley comes in. He makes one throw to Watkins and wins the game. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, we don't know anything about football. Like we don't know. Like, cause like back up, like if I didn't put money on the game, but if I was, the second I see Lamar Jackson is out, I'm throwing money before that line moves, right? And then I would have lost that bet because of Tyler Huntley. I would have never been able to look Tyler Huntley in the eyes.
You would never be able to strike up a friendship with Tyler.
No, it'd be over. We'd be done. We'd be done. You'd be like, you want Tyler Huntley on the show? I'd be like, fuck you, Eagle. We're not putting Tyler Huntley on the show. Yeah, it was just a wild day in that way. And like, so here, I have a question to pose to you, Terry. You've played football. You understand the game. New Orleans is 5-5. The Vikings are 5-5. Which one's good? Why? How are they the same team?
I think New Orleans is a better team than the Vikings. I think
they're
they're
not a better offense.
No, they're definitely not a better offense. The defense isn't playing pretty good. The Vikings overall are a better roster. Like they should be a lot better than they are. Mm-hmm. But I just think that when I look at New Orleans, I'm not like when I look at the Vikings, I know there might be a shit show today. With the Saints, I don't see it that way. Like with the Saints is like, okay, they're gonna fight and they're gonna battle against every team, no matter what. They're like just one of those ugly teams to play against. You don't want to play against them. The Vikings, it's like if they're not at home, it's almost a guaranteed win.
Yeah,
that's the way I see it with Minnesota. I know John's not gonna like that, but like it's just the reality because Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean?
John is I think his Montreal Canadiens fandom has affected his Vikings fandom though because he seems as down about the Vikings as he is about the Habs at all times. So I just feel that way.
I also just quickly want to point out the quality of the wins because the Vikings this year have beaten the Seahawks, the Lions, the Panthers, the Chargers, and this week the Packers. The Saints, their 5 wins have come against the Packers, the Patriots, the WFT, Washington Football Team, the Seahawks, and the Buccaneers. So they're not the greatest of matchups on either one, but I think the Saints probably have the harder schedule in that sense.
But the fact that the Saints lost to the Bucs and the Pats means that the Pats, they prepare better than anybody. They've always have. They always will. As long as Belichick's there, they're the best, most prepared team. So the fact that they can win that game, and then on top of that, they can win against the Bucs, a division game, that's pretty crazy to me. I think the Saints are better than the Vikings.
But so also, when did the Pats get good? Is another thing. Where like
they've always been good.
No, they didn't. They started the season by losing to the Dolphins. Come on.
No, but that's the thing. That's the thing, though. They've always been good. It's just that the Dolphins improved so much, and the Bills are who the Bills are, that we just kind of like forgot about who the Pats are. Like just because Brady's not there doesn't mean they're not a good team anymore.
You're not supposed to go from having the greatest quarterback of all time to instantly being good. Terry, you know this. Like I know this. You lose a quarterback. You're not supposed to be like the Packers. You're supposed to suck for at least.
It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen.
You're supposed to suck for 10 years.
It doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
You're supposed to suck for 10 years.
I think the big difference
your Drew
here,
Henson
though,
years.
The big difference here is I think Belichick and McDaniels have figured out how to bring Mac Jones up a level. And in the meantime, they're doing just enough to win games by controlling the tempo of the game and calling good defenses and calling an offense that's simple to execute but hard to defend against, right? Like it's classic Belichick coaching, exactly.
But so for a while, Chris Sims coached on that staff with the Patriots. And we've all come to know that Chris Sims is pretty great at breaking down tape and understanding schemes and quarterback. Like he does that now for Pro Football Focus and NBC Sports and all that stuff, right? So, like, it's clear that he's good at doing that, right? He's made a living of it, right? So, but he explained at one point about 3 or 4 years ago that his job was to scout the week in advance team. So, let's say it's week 14. He's scouting the week 15 opponent in the video room, and he's breaking down all of their plays, like all their pass plays from all of their games, all their run plays from all their games, all their defensive sets in all their games, and filling out between 37 and 40 categories so that they can send it off to their statisticians and just sort of develop trends. But here's the thing. I learned that 3 years ago. The rest of the NFL should have also learned that. Why isn't every team doing it then?
Because football is just like one of those old school ways of thinking. It's like, no, we have our way of doing it. We're going to do it this way. You think Vic Fangio is looking 2 weeks in advance?
I mean, you should, because the guy he's competing against is Bill Belichick. And
do you think Joe Judge is looking 2 weeks in advance?
I don't think Joe Judge, like, I I think if he left a frozen Snickers in his freezer, he's not even looking that far in advance. He forgot.
Nick Sirianni's looking 4 weeks in advance.
So well, I mean, maybe he did transform the offense in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
They
they
look
look
better.
good actually. Yeah, they do. They do look good. I will say.
Yeah,
I don't think he's that bad of a coach. I actually think he's a good coach. I just think that
We'll see.
he's a weird way of talking. That's pretty much.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have a hard time believing that genius can be kept in that vessel. You know what I mean?
You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be like, smarter than.
Yeah, you need to be smarter than the top 2% of the world that has those jobs.
You need to be smarter than me trying to beat the guy in the middle of Times Square challenging people at chess while I'm
I
hammered.
saw that. You got destroyed. He got mad at you because of how much you sucked at chess.
No, he was getting mad at me because I wasn't focusing. He was super nice. Yeah.
He told you,
super
he's
nice.
like, I want you to focus.
Yeah,
That's the
he's
best
like,
part of that video.
focus. He's like, what did he say? He said, like you gotta focus and play because I'm gonna beat you. So okay.
You don't want excuses.
Yeah.
He's Mike Vrabel. You don't want excuses for beating you.
Yeah,
Terry,
yeah.
do you
I
even
didn't
have
even
a
try and
chess
tell him.
ELO rating?
What?
Do you even have an ELO rating in chess?
No, I do not.
Do you even know how to play chess?
I do know how to play chess
Do you though?
to a certain extent. Like, I mean, I do. Like, I know the basic concepts of chess, but I don't understand. Like a guy like him who plays it all the time. He had like a stack of books with like notes. They're all ripped up. Like a guy like him who studies it, I'll never be better than. I have a friend Anthony who studies it. He plays a lot. I'll never be better than him. I've beaten guys that are just like casual guys like me. I used to play a lot in high school.
Okay, so
I
what's
love
your
the
what's
name
your
drop.
favorite chess
Wait,
opening?
wait,
then?
let's just go ahead with one quick thing though. I love the name drop of I know a guy Anthony. It's pretty good. It's a random guy
Yeah.
with most common name.
No, but just to say,
I know a
like,
guy
I'm
named
using
I
him
know a
as an
guy Mike.
example.
He delivers pizzas.
I'm using him as an example. Like he's a guy who I know he's like average Joe, but he plays a lot, so I won't beat him. And my favorite opening is I don't really have one. I just know what the moves do, and I try and win as much as I can.
So what Terry's describing is he plays chess like peas. He knows what the pieces are allowed to do.
Yes, that's exactly it.
That's what he means by knows chess.
And you
'Cause
went
I say I know chess.
and
too.
you went to New York with a chess hustler and paid money to lose.
Well, yeah, you of
$10
course you're gonna lose.
$10. I was also hammered, so
Don't
like,
waste
did I
the guy's
really
time.
lose that money?
No, because
I saw.
It
you know
saved
what?
you
know,
buying
I
a
was
drink.
In a good mood. I was in a good mood that night. You know what happened? I booked random tickets to the Comedy Cellar. So all it is you see just a bunch of random comedians. Then all of a sudden, Kevin Hart shows up and does 30 minutes.
oh, that's pretty
Then,
awesome.
then we got hammered. Well, I was already hammered at that time, and we went back to Times Square. And as I was walking back to the hotel, I saw this guy, and I was like, "Oh, we just had a couple slices of pizza too." So I'm like, "Let me pop a squad here." He's like, $10 a game. So I gave him 20, and we played 2 games. Lasted
bad.
10 minutes, but it was good.
It's a quick way to lose $20. It's all good.
At one point, there was a guy like giving me advice, and they were gonna fight, like a legit fist fight.
Did one of them have a telescopic bat?
No telescopic bats. I didn't
Thank
see
God.
any.
Thank
No.
God. So during the Bears game, the fans started chanting to fire Nagy. I was legitimately surprised they didn't cut him loose in the offseason. I very rarely, unless your name is Adam Gase, call for your job. I will say that the team hasn't gotten any better since the double doink, right?
It hasn't only been during the Bears game itself they were chanting that. During the Bulls game, they were also
Wow.
chanting fire Nagy. During Nagy's son's football game, they were chanting fire
No,
Nagy.
that's bad. Okay, that's bad. I don't like
I can't imagine that we
Chicago.
got to the place where the Bulls got good faster than the Bears. The Bulls were terrible like 2 years ago.
And look at them now, man. All you needed is Alex Caruso.
Well,
That's it.
They're,
All you needed was a documentary on MJ.
they're a little fake. They're basically last year's Knicks. You'll see.
Yeah, no, I see that.
they're
But
a first round exit.
I do like the team though. Like,
Yeah, it's a fun team.
how could you not enjoy watching them play? Like, I caught them a few times. I'm not a huge basketball guy, but I caught them a bit, and I watched like the second half of their game, and it was like I like watching DeRozan and all these guys. Like, it's a good team.
Yeah.
I like it's fun.
It's fun. It's much better than watching the Lakers, for example, who's just an old group of dudes, slow
Shit
ass
show.
paced. The Westbrook LeBron thing. I remember when that trade happened, Terry. I was saying how, like, from a basketball perspective, I didn't really get how it would work. I thought, well, maybe at least when LeBron's out, Westbrook like plays that role as the distributor and the guy who handles the ball. But it's just disarray. The defense is atrocious.
Awful. Pure
It
awful.
turns out you need athleticism, play defense, and a bunch of old guys are not as athletic as a bunch of young guys. So, I mean,
Khalil Mack has been hurt for the Bears as well, so he hasn't been
we
playing.
transitioned.
No, he didn't.
I'm already talking about basketball.
We're talking about basketball, but you're talking about Nagy before. That's how we got into the topic.
Read the next topic, Eagle.
Yes, I'm aware.
Do I need to produce your show?
Do we want to talk about firing Garrett and firing Nagy,
No, I
though?
moved on.
All right,
I moved on. It was a good segue. I took it.
It was a good segue.
How's it going, Eeks?
It's going well. It's going well.
When's therapy this week?
He writes a script with 10 points, skips half of them,
Yes.
and blames me.
It gives me freedom. Freedom. Do you not recognize freedom? So speaking of the Lakers, LeBron got into a physical altercation with Isaiah Stewart. And that made me want to touch on a few things. So let's watch the altercation and we'll get to our thoughts on it immediately after. I spoke so slowly for you to set it up.
Nowhere.
Plus, I told you I transitioned to the NBA.
It's coming.
There it is.
Isaiah wants some of him. Isaiah's not going away. They called technical fouls because they dusted up in the lane during the free throws. Isaiah's going after him.
I love this one guy holding down Anthony Davis. He was like Steve Van Gundy being dragged on the floor.
Isaiah, he's bleeding badly. You can see why he is so upset.
They take their hands off. He may go after him again. He got hit up the side of the head. This is sad.
He really annihilated that guy.
I wish you realize how big these guys really
That
are.
man's gonna
They could
get
just
himself in
truck
big
through
trouble
like
with the league.
hordes of people.
So I wrote like a tongue-in-cheek blog about this
Yeah, I saw.
and how LeBron James should be fined, should be suspended for more than Isaiah Stewart. And
thought
I
both
still
guys-
stand on that fact for sure.
I
don't
both
think
guys should have been
Isaiah
suspended
Stewart.
longer. To be honest, I thought both.
Yeah, I
guys
think
should have been
Isaiah
suspended
Stewart deserved the 2-game suspension for sure, but LeBron should have been suspended more. They need to make a point because this year's been really bad.
The thing is, I watched the play. I don't know if it's intentional. LeBron raises his
100%
arm.
intentional.
I don't know. I don't know that for sure. The thing is, like,
Nobody lifts their arm. Like Nick Wright was trying to make this point too. Nobody lifts their arm and like swings like this. Like nobody does that.
I disagree. Blockouts are more aggressive than you think they are. Guys,
No, but you're not
guys get
swinging
hit with
your
elbows all the
fist.
time in the NBA.
You're not swinging your fist. Like he extended his arm. You can't see it, but he extended his arm. When you extend your arm like this, when you extend it like that, but if he kind of went like this and by accident his elbow clipped him or whatever, that wasn't what happened. He extended close fist in the eye.
I think he was trying to hit him. I think he was trying to hit him more like in the shoulder or
Maybe,
chest. He's not looking at him right when he does it. So I think he hit him in the face when he was trying to hit him in the chest. Or like he was angry. The team's not doing well. Some stuff probably happened throughout the game. When you guard each other in the NBA, again, the game is more physical than people give it credit for. So like that stuff does happen. Like we talked about sort of like the heat, the incident between Jokic and Markieff Morris, right? Where the again the game does get physical, does get chippy. I think LeBron was just trying to hit him in the chest, hit him in the arm, and then like just didn't know that his face was there. That said, like the NBA, we saw the Mouse and Palace documentary, right? They don't like these altercations on the court. They don't like sort of being portrayed as the quote unquote like thug league and all that. And so I was surprised to see such light suspensions, even though it was LeBron James. If anything, I thought LeBron would have enjoyed taking 10 days off. You know what I mean? Like he's older,
that's true.
the team's not doing well. You know, take 10 days away, come back, start trading guys. See how that goes.
I don't know. I just think that LeBron, he got some privilege for that. I think that he should.
The best players in the NBA always do, right? Like,
if Isaiah Stewart doesn't react the way he does, I think we're looking at LeBron. Because if anybody else does that, if let's say Markieff Morris does that, then we're having this conversation completely differently.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Jimmy Butler does that. We're talking about Jimmy Butler, how he's an asshole. You know what I mean? But he's one of the stars in the league. But LeBron James, we're not saying anything. LeBron James did an asshole move. I'm not saying he's an asshole. He did an asshole move.
You
and
can
he should
do
be paying the
shitty
cost.
things. It doesn't mean you're a shitty person per se, right? Like he
Exactly.
did a shitty thing. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think we can agree on that. It was unnecessary. He hit him in a spot. Like so, I'm not a doctor. I'm just trying to get the information online, like anybody else. Apparently, he hit a part of the eye with a lot of capillaries where it's easy to bleed.
So right under here
Mhm.
and right around here, you can even feel it when you push down on your bone. You can feel it, and that's what cuts your skin. And it's also you see UFC fighters and boxers, they get cut up here a lot.
Yeah.
It's because there's such a sharp bone out here that some people have it sharper than others. The mine's really sharp. And it ends up building scar tissue and it gets cut really easily. So, but if he got caught right here, that bone is really sharp. It just slices him right open. There's no meat here. It's all skin.
Yeah.
So that's all it was. And then it rolled into his face and it made it look a lot worse than it is.
Yeah. And it's the thing is, I think to both sides of this, people are sort of they're not reacting to the action. They're reacting to the reaction that it led to a brawl. That we saw the blood on Isaiah Stewart's face. I always want to call him Isaiah Thomas every single time. But yeah, but one of the things I thought of from a basketball perspective is this sort of like, when Tiger came back and the young
Again.
Well, no, like the first time when he came back after all the scandals and like he just sort of seemingly lost that edge where like golfers weren't as scared of the red polo on Sundays anymore, where like the young guys they weren't losing just on respect alone. I feel like, have we reached that point with LeBron James where, yeah, he's not quite the best player in the league anymore. He's just sort of one of the top tier guys, but like in a group of the top tier guys, and doesn't win games.
I think he'll
based on
always
fear.
be. I think he'll always be in the group of the top tier guys. But yeah, this year his numbers aren't showing that he's one of the best players in the league, but we know that he is. You know what I mean? Because when it comes to playoff time.
But you know what I mean, like that killer mode. Like at the end when Kobe got on, he kind of looked like a circus act more than that fearsome Mamba, right? Like, or Jordan at the end with the Wizards. Like these guys didn't look like the killer that they were in their younger days, right?
I've been LeBron James over everybody for a long time, and after the last couple of seasons, and I saw how he's kind of like regressed really quickly, and I don't know if it's because of injury or whatever.
Age too.
It's hard. It's hard for me to have those arguments.
Not everybody can be Tom Brady. Some people age like normal humans.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. So the other thing this got me thinking about was, you remember, and we've talked to Carlin Gay of NBA.com Canada about this. Do you remember when there was a situation where Daryl Morey said free Tibet, or was it free Hong Kong? Sorry, and LeBron was asked about the China thing, and he sat it out, right? And now Enes Kanter is sort of trying to campaign for freedoms because he's come from a country where freedom is not guaranteed. He's from Turkey. He's wanted by his own government, which is not common for professional NBA superstars. And the thing is, I never know how to react to these things because I don't think it's necessarily LeBron to take on all causes. There are causes that are important to him, like there are causes that are important to you, there are causes important to me. And I think it's okay to champion your causes. But I do think it's just important to recognize that other things exist. But where it gets difficult with China is, man, it's not like we're going to stop buying phones. It's not like we're going to stop buying shoes. It's not like the NBA is going to cut that partnership because they can't.
But the only thing is that they dangle the carrot, right? They dangle the carrot in front of you, and it's like with LeBron James, he has so much invested in this, and people rip on him for not saying anything. And listen, they rip on him for good reason for not saying anything, but he also has a good reason for not saying anything. Like people can be upset
for
and
an
be like, "Listen,
economy
LeBron."
of people, right? Like how many people make money off the LeBron existence in terms of running
exactly.
all of the
100%.
things that he does in terms of charities, in terms of selling those shoes, in terms of marketing those shoes, all of those people would also lose their jobs, and then he would be criticized for, you put your morals online and you cause all these real people to lose their jobs. It's like he can't win, right? Like there's no.
And also, if he says anything, he probably loses a gajillion dollars.
And then the other side of it is the people who say, the shut up and dribble. Well, no, but it's important for people who have a platform to also use it, because if it's just regular people talking, nobody listens. So I mean,
Exactly.
it's such a clusterfuck. I don't even know the right way to approach it anymore. It reminds me of the scene in a show called The Good Place, where the Maya Rudolph's character basically comes down to earth. She's like this arbiter in heaven who decides who goes to heaven and hell. And she comes down to earth, experiences life as a human, and goes back up. It's like, you're right. Human life is confusing. Why does delicious chicken have to be racist? Pointing out Chick-fil-A, for example, of which I am a huge fan of, right? So
I had it for the first time.
It's delicious.
I had it for the first time. Very good.
Yeah. It's good. It's
Very
good. It's a good sandwich.
Yeah.
I hate even giving them free advertising, but my God, it's a great sandwich.
Good sandwich.
But yeah, so all that to say, the reason we're talking about this, of course, is Alex the intern sent me the story. It was loaded. I was doing the show with Duke last week, and there weren't a ton of details out about it yet, so I decided to wait on it. But the tennis player, Peng Shuai, who came out about a Chinese official equating to about sort of a vice president, let's say, the equivalent. She says she was raped by or coerced into sex by this official. In that time, she seemingly disappeared, except for this video put out by the Chinese government.
对，今年啊跟去年不一样，今年呢还是由于疫情，原来计划呢我们是做实战的青少年比赛，3个月之内然后明天这不是11月20号吗？我们早就计划了11月21号明天11月21号我们打这个在钻石打年龄总决赛。以前我们参赛的学员规模比这个现在要更多一些。由于疫情呢，我们其实有2站受影响整体参赛的球员数比原来预计就稍微少一点，但是孩子们还依然很踊跃。所以明天。
So for the audio audience, I'm going to apologize. Obviously, it's not in English. It's a video that takes place in China. But so essentially, this depicts them at a restaurant. We, of course, don't really have a clear picture of when it was taken. And also, there's some weird staging where they mention that it's November. It's really weird. It also doesn't indicate... This is them answering for proof of life. It doesn't indicate that she's free, that she's happy. This was just on the demands by the IOC, also super corrupt organization, asking to prove that she's alive. Like they're dealing with basically someone who's holding hostage.
And just for context on that as well, the 2022 Olympics are coming up in Beijing, and a lot of international Olympic committees, including the Canadian delegates, are looking to boycott if something happened here, essentially, right? They wouldn't go, or basically the whole stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of a problem.
It's not good. I mean, you can tell, you can see how obviously he was staged. As soon as the video starts recording, he's like, yeah, so we have a plan. It's better than our plan from last year. He basically sounded like Trump, just like for like 5 minutes, just not, okay, are you going to say a second sentence that makes any sense?
He's just referring to time at all times.
Time, that's it, yeah. And he's like, oh, tomorrow we have this match and it's going to happen.
Does it feel...
And it's November 20th. No, it's the 21st. Just letting you know.
But it kind of feels like a hostage, like holding a newspaper to show the date. Like that doesn't mean she's safe. It's not something recorded of her own will.
Which one is she? She's the one in the blue or the glasses?
Blue, I think.
The one in the blue, I believe, as well.
Okay, yeah. I was looking at her. I'm like, is that
I'd like
her?
to pretend that I'm an expert in women's tennis. I'm not. I enjoy the sport, but I'm not an expert. I believe that to be her. Either way, she's also not doing any talking in the whole video.
That's very weird.
Should have learned Morse code to send us a signal by blinking.
Yeah, that would be intense.
Have you seen
Did
Cardi?
that happen already though?
I don't know.
It was like
Vietnam
or somewhere at one point where the guy basically blinked torture and they figured it out.
Oh, I didn't know.
No,
Awesome.
I'm not talking about that. There was one where it was, I don't know if it was Biden's administration, but they had like a how do you call it? Fuck.
Sock puppet.
No, when you're deaf and you use hand signals.
Hand signals.
That's what it is.
I don't know.
There isn't a word for it.
I would assume there's a translator
Anyway, yeah. So a translator, okay, but
For the
she wasn't
for the
doing
orally
any.
impaired.
She wasn't saying anything of what Biden was saying. I don't know if it was Biden or not.
Oh, I remember this.
And she was just sitting there, just doing
they hired
random
someone.
stuff.
No, it was actually I think the last Olympics. I think,
Yeah,
and
it makes.
and they hired someone who very clearly didn't know sign language.
And then you have a girl, Cardi B hired this girl to do it on the side of her stage. You ever see this? So
I
Cardi
haven't.
B has a lot of explicit commentary, right? A lot of explicit lyrics where she says things like, "I want to slide that Big Mac truck right inside this tiny garage. I want to choke." So you see the girl going, like,
But so, I mean, if Cardi B has a sense of humor, you imagine that's on purpose, right? Because cuss words in any language is funny. So like sign language is not exempt.
Oh man, I wish your ego could find it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It was Jeremiah Denton, actually. He was a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War, where he did an interview on TV.
Eagles
and
doing his
he
own
played
show
torture.
today.
Yeah.
Eagles doing his own show today.
It's a classic moment, actually.
Let's get
Surprised
the
you guys
rapid
didn't know
fire. Let's get the rapid fire. Oh, but before we get to rapid fire, let's tell you who presents rapid fire.
Who
You
presents
could have
rapid
said
fire?
something, Eagle.
No.
Who
Doing his own
presents
show, I
rapid
swear.
fire is Hot Streak Fantasy. Visit Hot Streak Fantasy on iOS. Use a hot sauce promo code, and they're gonna match your initial deposit as a bonus. It's unbelievable. Honestly, I think we've had. They just sent us the report. Like they had like a bunch of people signed up using the promo code. Everybody loves it. It's Hot Streak Fantasy. Use the promo code Hot Sauce. Deposit whatever you want, and they're gonna match it. And if you use it, we get paid. That's all that matters.
That is all that matters. Terry, can I have sex with an app?
You can have sex with an app. Yeah.
Well, looks like I'm gonna have sex with Hot Streak tonight. It's consensual though. I asked.
yeah.
I used promo code Hot Sauce 10 for my pleasure.
It burns.
All
though.
right.
It burns.
Our first topic for today, Fallen Kingdom. A Sacramento Kings fan drank a little more than he bargained for, and he ended up vomiting courtside.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love how he just didn't even bother going to the bathroom.
Wiping it up, cleaning it up.
What's
Yo.
your
Gotta make sure it's safe.
If I am not cleaning
This
that
is a
up.
critical point here. 9:32
apparently
left
at
to
one
go.
point the
He had a 4-point
part of the
deficit
cleaning crew
heading into
included the
fourth
mascot.
quarter.
I didn't know that was
In
part of the
very quick
responsibility.
succession, you gave up a
That was
10-0
pretty new to me.
run. And a lot of
The reaction
looks
from the
that
players
Utah
is just
starting to
amazing,
get
though.
That's making their offense kind of percolate a little bit is coming
Yeah,
from those
I don't care that he
corner
puked,
threes
he's gotta get
in
out of there.
Transition.
Man,
If anybody's that drunk to the point where they're puking like that, it's not.
I don't know what happened.
Get him out of there. He doesn't need to be there anymore. Get him.
Have you ever been like
Escorting somebody
so
out there.
shocked by vomit
Teamwork.
where you like it just surprised you, like before you knew it, you're vomiting?
No, I don't have that kind of gag reflex for vomit. I have it for like saliva. That's what. Yeah, very weird. You ever see the video of the guy, the fan? I think he's like at a baseball game and he's like this, and he just starts puking all over himself for like 5 minutes straight. That
think-
video is the only puke video that's ever made me gag. It's the only one.
That'll do it. That'll do it. I had two instances,
Oh.
both related to bachelor parties. One was after like 3 straight days of drinking after Duke de Graphite's bachelor party, where I didn't like. I was good the entire weekend, and then like the next morning, I'm talking to my wife, who thank God we weren't yet married, but we're living together at this point. And I'm brushing my teeth, talking to her, and then as I'm talking, I had to burp, and so I was sort of half stifling the burp. But then as I burped, a chunk of vomit came out of my mouth and landed in the sink. And then she looked at me and she's like, "Yeah, I guess I really do love you because I'm not leaving you." And then another time on my bachelor party, on my own bachelor party, one insane day led me to find out how much it costs for me to vomit inside of an Uber. It's $150.
Yep.
And I also vomited mostly all over one of my close friends.
I have a friend who let a girl throw
that
up in
part
his
was sweet.
hands.
Sorry?
I had a friend who let a girl throw up in his hands.
Did he smash?
No, don't do that.
In his hands, like he cupped.
No, you can't do that. The street's there. Just let her vomit in the street. It's fine. Yeah, that's it.
Fugazi. Antonio Brown, currently playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Former chef says he obtained a fake vaccination card as explained sort of in this tweet from Jay Glazer.
Oh, it's not explained in the tweet. He's trying to, I think, exonerate Antonio Brown, but I can see why you're having trouble with it, Eagle. It's perhaps the worst written tweet I've ever seen.
Yes.
Regarding the Antonio Brown situation, the Buccaneers say that one of the players that Brown's former chef, Steven Ruiz, said was using a fake vaccine card actually took the vaccine shot in front of their staff, so they know Ruiz lied about that, according to Jay Glazer. It's like this is like one of my blogs. This is awful.
It's pretty atrocious. It also doesn't mean anything. It's weird how, because of like the court of public opinion, one of the things that happens is agents and lawyers tend to try and get ahead of things by putting out these statements, trying to tear apart the credibility. Although you're taught basically first day of law school is like, focus on facts, don't be distracted by things that aren't relevant. Whether or not he lied in the past, so like if I lied about like Terry, I've never eaten lasagna at 3:00 in the morning, definitely not a lasagna sandwich.
Liar.
Just because I was lying about that obvious thing doesn't mean I wouldn't eat whatever Eagle was scarfing down because it was gross.
It's so good.
Oh my God, you're gonna die soon. It's just the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest. I'm at this point. Someone from my fantasy league posted all of the things Antonio Brown's done like in the last 2 years, and it was so long it didn't fit in the preview picture on WhatsApp, so I had to open it. One of the things I forgot about was froze his own feet. That's one of the things we forgot about because it's been so insane with Antonio Brown over the last couple of years.
His feet were frozen. She had frostbite on his feet.
Yeah, that happened. That's not even the top 10 craziest shit about Antonio Brown in the last two or 3 years.
Because of cryotherapy.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Blaze and Saddles. Mizzou linebacker Blaze Aldridge took a prop with him to a press conference. Half the fun is butchering the names.
He gets all of the names wrong.
I've seen all the movies, The Mandalorian, pretty excited about the new series, but my main purpose in here was coming to show it lights up. I heard Coach Drink, forgot about that.
On that,
I love this guy.
Yeah, you have to draft him now, right?
Yeah.
First of all, his name's Blaze. Blaze is his name. So whatever. You're figuring a couple of marijuana suspensions, if that even still is a thing.
Yeah.
Then also going to a press conference with a lightsaber, hero.
Yeah. Ultimate.
It's an instant draft for me. And also Eagle, it's Mizzou.
Mizzou.
It's not a soup.
All right. This one, we draw the line here because vomit is fine, shitting is fine, pissing is fine, but beating your girlfriend is totally not fine. Battering ram. A video has emerged that showed ex-NFL running back Zach Stacy beating his girlfriend in close proximity to his newborn, along with audio that suggests that she knew it was coming and set up the video recording to catch it in the moment, I guess. Thoughts? Question mark.
One of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. Terry, like I pointed out, I was like, the fact that she doesn't scream for help shows it's happened before. And you basically yelled at me by text. You were like, dude, she set up video cameras. She obviously this has happened before. And I was like, how did I not even see that? Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're right. This has happened so often that she set up nanny cams to record this happening.
She was good too. Like she knew that she was gonna have to take like a few shots, and she was good too. And then when I heard the baby like start crying, man, it broke me. It
ruined my day. It absolutely ruined my day. It was hard to watch, and I know players are flawed humans like anyone else, but I have no sympathy or pity for someone like that. It's a shame that anybody has to go through that. I don't care if it's an ex-NFL player, an ex-athlete, ex-actor, or nobody. I don't give a shit. I hope this whatever prosecution is set for him is as brutal as it can be.
I agree.
And last one for you, and you can actually find this directly on the Hot Sauce Sports Instagram. So if you're not currently following us at Hot Sauce Sports, go ahead and check it out. Man versus Machine. A fellow Montrealer made a sprint to try and catch the closing doors of a Montreal metro. It did not end well.
It's crazy. It's crazy how the doors reopen. open. I know that's sometimes all come at the same time. So like 100 people are running.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear the thud when he hit the ground again.
So so a couple things. One is the first thing I thought of, Terry, because I knew you just got back from New York City. The first thing that crossed my mind was stand clear of the closing doors, please.
I didn't take the metro at all. I refused.
Oh no, really?
No, I refused. There's no point in New York. I mean, listen, it depends on where you're going, but like we
How
took
else do you get to
cab.
Coney Island?
I avoided Coney Island.
As one should.
Oh, we stayed in Times Square. We did like my girlfriend wanted to stay in Times Square. I wanted to stay more towards like the Village where like there's all like good coffee spots and all that shit. But we stayed in Times Square. It was fun, man. We had a great time and no metro, cabs, Ubers, and a lot of walking.
I'm big on the New York Metro. I enjoy it. The one thing, however, Eagle, about this story, I've since learned it was faked. One of the reasons that led me to think it might be faked was someone was filming it from the perfect angle the entire time. It's been confirmed by the gentleman in the video that it's faked. He wanted to conduct sort of an amateur study to see if people would help him, because during the pandemic, people became more isolated and only thought of themselves. I thought that was a flawed premise. I didn't find that to be the case. I think that if anything, it just accentuated who you are. So if you were a piece of shit, it just showed people that you were a piece of shit. If you were a good, heartwarming person.
Also, this went viral, so congratulations. Your Instagram account popped off.
Yeah, you got 57,000 views in less than 24 hours. Good. Congrats, I guess. Still a funny video, man. Still enjoyed it. I still like me a slapstick comedy. And to your point, Eagle, the sound of a thudding head hitting the ground always going to be kind of funny to me.
Better than the previous topic, that's for sure.
Definitely better than the previous topic. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you all for listening. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. It's how we keep the lights on. We enjoy doing this. We enjoy bringing it to you. And we have a great time. So we thank everyone who's come along the journey with us. If you have not yet rated, subscribed, reviewed, please do so. Thank you, Terry, for your return. Thank you, Eagle, for doing your own show. But most of all, thank you all for letting me be myself. You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.